Hello, hello, my friends. We are a couple of days into the month of February, and while we have a lot to look forward to, we need to take a moment to look back, right? Do we? I don't know. I do here on my channel. This is going to be my monthly candle empties video. Typically, I try to get this done twice a month, but in the month of January, for whatever reason, I just didn't get it done. I think what it was is that I don't think that I had a ton of candles finished by mid-January. So I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead and push it off. And sure enough, but I blinked and I had finished burning 18 candles. So lots to talk about in this video today. As always, I will have all of the candles that I'm talking about listed in the description box down below with some timestamps, so that way it makes it easy for you to jump back and refer to any candles that you might want my specific thoughts about. I really love this type of video because I feel like it really kind of gives you full thoughts. If a candle reviewer or a candle lover says that they would repurchase a candle after fully burning through it. And I just have to tell you guys, it's quite a mishmash of fragrances here because you guys know I live in Arizona, which means that the weather some days is a little bit cooler for us, which means then I'm reaching for cozy types of fragrances. But then at other points, it feels very, very spring-like. In fact, today I'm sitting here wearing this hoodie because I'm filming this in the morning, but by this afternoon, we're supposed to have a high of 76. So this will be coming off, and layers are the key word this time of year. So grab a drink, grab a snack. One of the things I did want to let you guys know is that the B-roll that I insert for up-close visuals of all of these vessels might look a little bit different. Not the B-roll itself, but the vessels might look a little bit different than they have been in videos past. And that is because I talked about this in another video at some point, maybe one of my Friday Fives or candle chats. Basically, I repurpose these vessels by giving them to a local florist, and to make the process a little bit easier for me to get them cleaned up for her, what I have started doing is on the final burn of a lot of these candles, if there's any little bit traces of wax left, the wick clips, while the wax is still warm, I just go ahead and dump it out and wipe it out. So you will not see any like remaining wax. Maybe one of these vessels, I think I forgot to do that on, one or two, but for the majority of these, you guys, you're going to see that I kind of have like, you can see the streaks from where I wiped out the wax, but I feel like this video will still be informative because, again, I'll let you know how the candles perform for me and whether or not I will repurchase. So that's enough said. I do have affiliate discount codes down below if they pertain to any of these candles, but let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get into this empties video. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start with a KRINGLE candle here. I have a lot of KRINGLE in here. I've got some caramel sundaes and some HOMEWORX. A KRINGLE candle that I actually believe I talked about this last week in the Friday Five. This is Enchanted Winter from their Reserve collection. This has fragrance notes of pine, fresh, green, cypress, gin, and woody accords. And I mentioned in the Friday Five, this is one of those fragrances that was definitely a stereotypical January burn for me. This was very pretty. It's kind of like an outdoorsy tree scent. It doesn't remind me of a Christmas tree. I pick up some juniper in here. There's a gin accord in here, but juniper, we know gin is derived from the juniper plant. And I definitely got the freshness of juniper in here. There's kind of like a cold winter air, but it's not super minty. This was just a very nice, fresh, almost borderline clean type of fragrance for nice January days. I did really enjoy pairing this with Sniff's Winter Wander. And yeah, this one was just, it was very nice. Very, very much a January type of fragrance for me, though. I felt like it was just kind of like helped signal in like New Year freshness after you put away all of the Christmas decorations. Is this a fragrance that I would repurchase? Here's the thing, you guys. If I did not have a YouTube channel where I was constantly focused on reviewing new, I'm pretty cutthroat about what I repurchase. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would repurchase this candle in the future. But because I am usually focused on all of the new, I don't see myself buying another one of these right now. If I were to see this go on a deep discount, maybe like a 50% off, I might throw another one into my cart. But I do recommend this fragrance if the fragrance notes appeal to you. Strength and throw on this was actually pretty good. It vacillated anywhere between like a 7 and an 8 for me. I would say 7 is probably a pretty safe spot for it. But yeah, really nice fragrance, and I do recommend this one. Now, a fragrance that I don't recommend, I did do a short on this. This is Sniff's Sweet Ash, and this is particularly in the 8.5 ounce vessel. I think I also talked about this one in the Friday 5. Here's the thing. I own this fragrance in their laundry detergent and in their eau de toilette. I like it the most in their laundry care. I really, really like the way that this makes my towels and sheets smell. Do I love it as much as Caramel Sundae's Plain Jane? No. This is a fragrance, though. I'm going to tell you guys, I had this experience with their Old Saint wick, and I don't know if it's their colored wax formula or what. This had 2 wicks in it. This is a $46 candle. It really, really struggled to pull out. The wicks were very slow burning, very low, like low flames for about the first half of this candle's burn, which then, of course, had the result that it was not throwing very well for me. I even had it in a hurricane. It was in a bedroom, but even in there, the first couple of burns was very, very weak. I would give it maybe like a 3 or 4 in terms of strength and throw. Not at all what I was expecting, because even now, smelling it on cold, it's a very like potent perfume type of smell. It kind of leans more like masculine cologne. There's fragrance notes of like juniper and tonka. Anyways, this one for me, you guys, it did not perform for me. So I cannot recommend this one. Now, there is another fragrance that I did finish burning from Sniff in this size of vessel that performed wonderfully for me. So I don't know, you guys, now I've had 2 experiences with these Sniff 8.5 ounce vessels that have not gone so well for me, and it's pretty expensive. Yes, you can redeem rewards or use, when they have like a sale on the Sniff website. I think that this one might also be sold on Ulta. But no, I wouldn't repurchase this fragrance, not in the candle format. If I repurchase this fragrance at all, it would be in their laundry detergent. But yeah, this one's going to be a pass for me moving forward. Another candle that I have loved for many years is HOMEWORX's Limoncello Cupcake. Fragrance notes are limoncello, Sicilian lemons, candied lemons, sparkling sugar, creamy vanilla, and French butter. I will tell you guys, this is probably still one of my all-time favorite lemon gourmands. Is it anything earth-shattering? No. Is it really well done? Yes. I definitely get the sweet lemon in here with that kind of like, it's not even really like a lemon cake. I feel like it's almost like a vanilla cake with a little hint of lemon on it. That it's more of like a lemon buttercream frosting on here. It's really, really well done. Now, the only thing that I would say moving forward, even though I really, really love this fragrance, I am focusing on burning 100% soy wax candles, which HOMEWORX is not. So I don't see myself repurchasing this candle anytime soon. However, if my feelings ever change, or if you are somebody who doesn't care about 100% soy wax, maybe you don't like soy wax candles, you want something that's got a little bit of paraffin in it, then I would recommend Limoncello Cupcake. This is a great fragrance. I know that there's been a couple of flankers that have come out over the last year and a half with this. It's a popular fragrance for good reason. So yeah, if you're looking for a lemon gourmand and you like the HOMEWORX brand, then I would recommend it. But as for me personally, at this point in time, I won't be repurchasing it anytime soon. Now, I finished up a Caramel Sundae's 4-wick. This is Cookies for Santa. Now, I'm going to go ahead and try to read the notes here. This one, it's the coloring on the label here is a little bit harder for my eyes to see. This had fragrance notes of cinnamon, sugar, ginger, oatmeal bits, apple, and raisin. This is one of those fragrances that I actually ended up liking a lot more the more that I burned it. This was just like a nice oatmeal cookie type of fragrance. I didn't really detect a whole lot of raisin, which was why initially I was a bit hesitant and it wasn't on my list to purchase. I think I bought this in the November restock. And it was my friend McKenna who said that she had this candle and she said, Katie, I don't detect a lot of raisin. I think you'll like it. And sure enough, she was right. The spice note in here was very similar to the spice note that I picked up in their coffin cake fragrance from their fall and Halloween lineup, which I absolutely love coffin cake. Like that is one of the most perfect spice cake fragrances. But this one was actually very, very nice. This burned well with some tree scents. I kept burning this. I think I burned this around the holidays, but then I kept burning this going into the new year here. And this was just like a nice, warm, cozy, particularly in the mornings. I really enjoyed this fragrance. So this is a candle that I would repurchase in the future. I did like it enough that I would consider repurchasing. So Cookies for Santa was a good one. Most of these, you guys, I do have dedicated post-burn reviews on here on my channel. You can look at, I have just like a straight up candle reviews playlist. There's a lot of reviews there, but if you're looking for specific brands, I also have reviews in specific brands. So I have like a Caramel Sundays playlist. I have a KRINGLE playlist. I have a HOMEWORX playlist, Bath and Body Works. So you'll be able to find candles that I've reviewed from each of those brands. If I have reviewed them, you can check on each of those playlists. But this one for me would be a repurchase. I did get good strength and throw out of this as well. Soy wax does tend to vary. I would say sometimes burn to burn. I oftentimes find that sometimes around like the third to midway point, there's oftentimes a lull in terms of the fragrance output, but I do think that that is just the nature of soy wax because I've run into that across many different brands. But yeah, Cookies for Santa, if it comes back next year, would definitely be a repurchase. A KRINGLE candle 4-wick that I finished burning was Knit Sweaters. Knit Sweaters has fragrance notes of floral, coconut, cedarwood, sandalwood, amber, benzoin, oriental, and musk. This is one of my like January fragrances. I really, really enjoy burning this with their cozy and warm fragrance, which is kind of like a creamy coffee type of fragrance. This Knit Sweaters is kind of, it's funny because I'm not somebody who typically likes like fresh linen or fresh laundry types of fragrances, but this is done really, really well. There's a sweetness to this and a little bit of a floral accord that is just beautiful in this candle. I really, really like it. The coconut note in here is not beachy coconut. It's just something that lends maybe a slight element of like, I want to say like beachy cleanness, but this is not a beachy fragrance. I almost feel like this isn't in the same category as like coral or seaside or like Christmas in Manhattan. This is a little bit more, it leans a little bit more laundry, I would say, but it's beautifully done. This is one that surprised me when I first got my nose on it, how much I really enjoyed it. And like I said, my favorite pairing is with the cozy and warm. Would I repurchase this? Probably, I think so, mainly because I really, really love cozy and warm. But I don't know. There's some other candles that I'm finding that I'm really liking burning with that one. So this is a maybe. It's definitely not a no. Like it's not a like, I wouldn't repurchase it, but it is a maybe. It is a maybe to repurchase. Now I did have it in this 4-wick vessel. I will say all of this one I did not have issues with the wicks dudding out. I know that that has been kind of a recent thing that a lot of people have talked to KRINGLE about, is that there were some issues with the 4-wicks at the midway point with the wicks really, really slowing down, maybe getting clogged up. KRINGLE has had a meeting about that. They do have a plan moving forward for what they're going to be doing on their newer pours of the 4-wicks to remedy that situation. So these 4-wicks I would still buy with full confidence, but yes, I think this is the only one that I'm looking at out of, yeah, because the other 3 here that I have, I did experience that like midway kind of puny wick syndrome, which did affect the strength and throw. But this one, you guys, was a solid, I would give this about a solid 7.5 in terms of strength and throw. It was definitely noticeable. This is one that I, actually 7.5, 8, because there were a few days that I actually burned this out here on the open concept and I could smell it quite well. So I would recommend it if it is in your wheelhouse. Let's see, another HOMEWORX candle that I have here in front of me is Spun Vanilla Sugar. Now, I did actually finish burning through 2 of these. I had 2 of these in my collection, and I mentioned that this is actually one of my favorite winter fragrances. It has fragrance notes of spun sugar, whipped cream, sugared lemon, and vanilla. Now, again, this one is completely emptied out here. This fragrance to me kind of smells like a kind of like cotton candy. Like you get that spun sugar vibe, but there's no berry notes in it, which typically accompany a cotton candy type of fragrance. This is more like a spun sugar, like a vanilla spun sugar with a like the tiniest hint of lemon in here. It's not even like a strong lemon. It's nowhere near Limoncello Cupcake. But this is always a really nice fragrance for me to burn in the month of January because there's some warmth to it, but I think that little hint of sweetness from the lemon has me looking towards like brighter days ahead, which again, I don't live in a very like cold, dark climate in winter, but I will say it's pretty dark in the mornings here, and then it gets dark a little bit earlier. That's typical of winter everywhere, unless you're in the southern hemisphere. But yeah, this is a beautiful fragrance. Once again, this is a scent that I would love to see a soy wax company dupe because I do really like this fragrance. But again, right now I'm not really purchasing this type of wax formula. I did have this previously in the luxe size, and while I got great performance out of the luxe size, I will say that the luxe candles do burn a little bit dirty, so you might want to be aware of that. But I do really like this fragrance. And if, oh my goodness, they hit each other. They didn't break though, thank goodness. If I wasn't focusing on 100% soy wax, that is a candle that I would repurchase. While we're still talking about these KRINGLE 4 wicks, I'm not really going in any particular order, you guys. I'm just going with what's kind of like easily accessible as I'm grabbing. Another 4 wick here of KRINGLE candles, Cozy Christmas. Fragrance notes of firewood, Nordic cedar, nutmeg, orange rind, and vanilla bean. I've gone on and on about this one enough. This is in that same type of fragrance family as Bath & Body Works Winter. If you want a closer match to that fragrance, Frosted Dawn from their Winter Flight collection at KRINGLE is a closer dupe. I actually like Cozy Christmas a little bit more because I smell more of that orange rind, where I feel like Frosted Dawn is more clove and frankincense heavy. This has more of the orange rind with the hearth elements. There is some clove in here. There are some spices. You get a little bit of tree. But I do really like pairing this fragrance with Away in a Manger, which you guys know how much I love that scent. It's discontinued. If you have vintage pomander in your collection, that one would pair really nicely with this as well. This would definitely be a repurchase. This is one of my, did I say it was top 15? Top 12. This made my top 12 KRINGLE candle fragrances. I do really, really enjoy this one and would definitely repurchase it in the 4 wick. I got great strength and throw, minus the puny wicks that I encountered halfway through the burn. But I did get good strength and throw for the majority of this candle's life. Solid 8 for me, 8 to 8.5. It was really, really good. So it will definitely be a repurchase for me for the next holiday season. Now, another fragrance that I really love, you guys, but I did give some feedback to Mick. He was listening because I think he either watched the review on this. I think he watched the review on this one and commented. So this is the fragrance Snowy Bridge. Snowy Bridge has fragrance notes of citron, frosted fir, juniper glitter, midnight skies, jasmine, silver spruce, vanilla crystal, and patchouli kiss. Now, here's the thing with this fragrance. I want this one to be stronger. I've actually had this twice before in a 2 wick. I had it in a medium 2 wick initially, then I bought it in a large 2 wick. And both of those had very, very light performance for me. I would say at the most, I got like a 4 in terms of strength and throw out of the 2 wicks. So I was excited to see when it moved over into the 4 wicks, because I thought, okay, maybe, with a greater surface area, more wicks, I'm going to get better performance. Not really, you guys. This one was still very, very light for me. Now, the fragrance on this is really nice. It kind of reminds me of, like, I get an image of like a snow-laden wood train trestle for whatever reason. Obviously it says Snowy Bridge, but it does remind me of just like it's a warm, slightly woody type of fragrance, but somehow they capture like a sweetness and essence of snow on there. Yeah, it's hard to describe, you guys. I would recommend getting this one in a daylight if you ever just want to see what the fragrance would be. I really enjoy pairing it with another candle that I'm going to talk about here in just a moment from KRINGLE. But yeah, this one I do want to be reformulated to be a little bit stronger. I don't really get any citrus notes here, which would be, citron, frosted fir. It's kind of woody, not overly perfumey. Pairs really nicely with fragrances like Cozy Christmas or Frosted Dawn. And the other fragrance that I really, really enjoyed pairing it with is Cozy Cabin, another fragrance that is in my all-time favorite fragrances from KRINGLE. This is my #1 winter fragrance. I love burning this one in the month of January. It is perfect for after the holidays. Fragrance notes are firewood, cedarwood, brown sugar, cinnamon bark, vanilla, and warm maple. I know that maple note scares a lot of people, but don't. This is beautiful. I get a little bit of sweetness from the maple and the brown sugar, but again, it's not cloying. That firewood note in here is not too it's not too charred. It's like a sweet firewood in some ways. And again, you get this imagery of this like log cabin in the woods that's got fresh snowfall all around it. Cedarwood, but the cedarwood is not too like hippie type of cedarwood. Little bit of spice in there from a cinnamon bark. It is just so, so well done. Now, this is one of those fragrances that I had in the past in smaller vessels, and I always needed to buy like 2 of them in order to get the fragrance the fragrance level that I enjoy in my home. But this is one of the ones that I was hoping that Snowy Bridge was going to be like this, because this one in the 4-wick performed much better for me. This was a solid 8 for me in terms of strength and throw. It definitely filled up the open concept area out here in my living room. And Snowy Bridge burns really nicely with Cozy Cabin. So here's the thing, you guys. Cozy Cabin would definitely be a repurchase for me, but I do recommend it in the 4-wick if you're wanting to burn it in a more open concept. If you have smaller rooms in your house, if you live in a smaller apartment that has more closed concept rooms, then I think the 2-wick will be fine for you. But I would recommend going with the 4-wick in this Cozy Cabin fragrance. And so next year, or like next season, when I'm looking to repurchase this fragrance, I will probably purchase 2 of these Cozy Cabins in the 4-wick, just because I'm never just burning one candle in my collection. Let's just be honest. And truthfully, you guys, I think I'm going to give Snowy Bridge another go. Now that Mick has said thank you for the feedback, and they're going to try to formulate that one to be a little bit stronger, I would just be curious to see if they could get it stronger. If I buy it one more time, the Snowy Bridge, and it's not stronger for me, then I'll have learned my lesson. But I would repurchase these fragrances again. These are ones that I've been repurchasing like literally since I've been purchasing from KRINGLE. They are kind of like one of my favorite winter fragrance combos. But if you're going to ask me of the 2, which one that I would definitely give a 2 thumbs up to, it would be the 4-wick of Cozy Cabin. Now, while we're still talking about KRINGLE, I told you guys I got a lot of KRINGLE that I finished up. Last weekend, I did my Easter preview video, right? And there's an Easter candle that I finished burning. Look at how sooty that is inside. Ooh! This is Easter Brunch from 2024. Now, I don't believe I have the Easter Brunch notes on here. This is returning in the Easter lineup next week when that is released on February 12th. If you missed my Easter video, I uploaded that a couple of days ago, and I kind of gave you guys a preview of what's going to be offered, as well as did some like initial sniffs of a couple of the new fragrances that were sent to me. They sent me 5 of the new Easter candles, as well as the new St. Patrick's Day candle. But Easter Brunch, you guys, is returning, and this is a fragrance that I would highly recommend. This smells like authentic almond croissants. Now, I know a lot of people loved Bath & Body Works almond croissant that came out. I think that launched maybe 2 or 3 years ago. To me, you guys, I like that one on cold. It did lean a little bit more like almond extract, where some people I think could almost borderline see it as being cherry. But I will tell you, upon burn, I did not like it at all. It smelled very plasticky and artificial, and I hated it. This, not that problem. This is actually one of those fragrances that I don't love it as much on cold, but when I burn it, it transforms. It's kind of like a buttery croissant, but you get the sweetness of the nutty almond in here. It's very, very beautifully done. And I will say that my favorite combination with this fragrance is Easter Brunch with Juicy Strawberry from the Reserve line. Now, funny enough, over the weekend, I actually got together for lunch with my friend Amy over at Beloved Fragrance Finds. I know a lot of you guys know this, and a lot of you guys have discovered her channel. I think she launched it maybe close to a year ago. And, we've done a couple of collabs, but Amy only lives about an hour away from me. So we met up this weekend. We picked a spot halfway for each of us. And I brought the new Easter collection so that way she could smell them, as well as some other KRINGLE candles in my collection that she was curious about, that she had not gotten her nose on. Because unless you live near Bernardston, Massachusetts, most of us aren't familiar with you can't just go in and sniff all of them, right? And so I brought some candles, and so she really, really loved the Juicy Strawberry. She was intrigued by it. I had about half of it left, and so I just told her, I said, go ahead, you can have it, because she really liked it. I told her, I said, my favorite pairing is with Easter Brunch, and I'm out of it right now. And my budget's a little bit limited next week because we've got not only the KRINGLE launch, but we've got Caramel Sundays happening this Sunday too. So it's going to be an expensive week next week, and I've just decided, I'm like, something's got to get the axe. I think this year I'm going to pass up on Easter Brunch, but hopefully it'll return in Easter 2027. I can't even think that far ahead. Maybe I'm not wanting to, you guys, because that next year my daughter will be graduating from high school, and we're just gonna not go there yet, right? But yeah, this Easter Brunch, so good, you guys. If you're wanting an authentic almond croissant, and this one was a powerhouse for me. This was like a 9 in terms of strength and throw. It's very, very strong. I do highly, highly, highly recommend it if you are eyeing it for the Easter lunch. Okay, let's switch gears here a little bit. We're going to talk about a caramel sundaes candle. This is Cranberry and Birch. I purchased this, I think, in either the October or November restock. It had fragrance notes of sweet cranberries, birch wood, vanilla, and pine. This fragrance is one that I would repurchase, you guys. Caramel sundaes does cranberry very, very well. I've said it numerous times, shouting from the mountaintops. Pistachio, cranberry, blueberry. You see any of those notes with caramel sundaes? Look, maybe add it to your list because they do them very, very well. This one was done exceptionally well. This was a nice, perfect cranberry, but you also got the freshness of a birch tree in it. Again, a perfect January fragrance that I really liked burning after the holidays. I liked burning this with like an orange type of scent. It just kind of gave like fruity fresh vibes, but it was still wintry because of that birch note in there. It didn't scream like summer gourmands or anything like that. So Cranberry and Birch would be a repurchase for me. And I got pretty good strength and throw out of the 2-wick vessel here. The 2-wick, I would say that I'm trying to remember what I gave this in my dedicated review. I would say that this one, it ranged anywhere between 6.5 and to an 8 in terms of strength and throw. Again, soy wax kind of has those quirks, but this would be a repurchase for me next year. I did really, really like this fragrance. I would probably pick it up in a 4-wick next year just because I liked the fragrance enough that I felt like when this one was gone, I still wanted more of it. I think I also burned this with that Enchanted Winter, and it was really beautiful. So yes, this would be a repurchase for me as well. The other sniff candle that I finished burning was my second vessel of Mornings at Leven. This is in their 8.5 ounce vessel. Now this one I actually had really good performance out of. Was the second vessel of the Mornings at Leven. Both of them performed quite well for me. Do I feel myself that like I need to clamor for more of it? No, I don't. I know Melanie and Drew, like they are in love with this fragrance. It's a like for me, but I kind of feel like I don't need more of it. I would say my favorite sniff fragrance that I've had in candle format so far has been Old St. Wick in the 4-wick. Not in the 2-wick, it didn't perform for me. In the 4-wick, probably followed by Healed Away. Healed Away is a really nice fragrance. It's also one of my most complimented eau de toilettes. But yeah, for me, this one, I enjoyed it. It performed quite well for me. This one, I would say, was a solid 8 in terms of strength and throw. Now, that being in mind, you guys, I am burning a lot of my candles this time of year over on a shelf that I have on a quilt rack on this wall over here. And for whatever reason, this time of year, when I have windows open, it just throws so well. So I've mentioned this before. If you're having bad performance in areas of your home that you think are typically like where you've always burned candles from and you're like, why aren't they performing well? Could be that there are some other factors if you've got heating, air conditioning going on, because I will tell you, this spot on the wall doesn't perform as well in the summertime when my air conditioning is going because I have an air conditioning vent right above there. And then I will typically move my candles over here to a small table by the window that I burn candles from, and they'll throw better from there in the summertime. In the winter, I can't do that because I have windows open. I literally have a window right behind that table, so I don't want to burn a candle there to let the fragrance go out the window. I'm like, no, I want it to come this way. So anyways, just a little tip, and move your candles around if you find that they're not performing really well. Sometimes it's just a certain location in the home. Could be a dead air space. But Mornings at Leven, not going to be a repurchase for me right now. I just don't find myself clamoring for more. This did burn really nicely with KRINGLE Candles Dalgona. Really like that fragrance mixed with Mornings at Leven. So if you have either of those in your stash, get them out, burn them together. Really nice morning comforting vibes. But yeah, this one did perform well for me, even in this 2-wick vessel. So this one does get my recommendation, even though it's not one that I am clamoring to repurchase. Let's talk about a country candle that I finished burning. This was the one that I rang the alarm on, you guys, when this was included in the Black Friday sale, and then it was also at the same price point, I believe, after Christmas. This is Blueberry Milkshake. I think that it's all gone now. I do have one more in my stash. Blueberry Milkshake has fragrance notes of blueberries, vanilla, pie crust, and fruit filling. You guys, this is a blueberry pie fragrance, straight up. It's more heavy on the blueberry filling, but I do get a little bit of a pie crust accord in here. The pie crust accord is not as dominant in this candle as it is in their cherry pie fragrance. I get more pie crust in that one, but this was a beautiful scent. I really liked pairing this with some lemon fragrances. I actually think that this would pair really nicely with their cherry pie scent, which I have actually gotten out and started burning this week. So really, really well done. I hope that KRINGLE brings this one back and puts it into their summer lineup. Like maybe this summer they can, as part of their summer flight, they could introduce a blueberry pie, but it's actually really just this scent brought into the KRINGLE lineup, and then they market it as blueberry pie, because I think a lot of people overlooked this one because of the naming of it. Blueberry milkshake, I thought it would have been lactonic. No, there's nothing milky in this one. It's definitely a blueberry pie. Strength and throw, I will say, these country candles, they do vary. I would say strength and throw on this one was probably about like a 6.5. But again, I bought my backup for $7.75. I'm fine with that, right? Like, and truthfully, I burn this usually as a complementary scent to something else that's stronger out here in the open concept. So that's another suggestion I would have if you're somebody who has a large candle stash and you're wanting to burn them all up. What I typically do is I look at a candle that I know is a strong performer in the open concept, and then I look for other candles that would, the fragrance would complement it, but also, like in the case of, say, blueberry milkshake, I know that this is probably not going to fill up my open concept, but it's going to perform well in a bedroom. So I'll put this in a bedroom. I'll put cherry pie, which my cherry pie has been burning really well out here. That one's been really strong. So that's another suggestion I would give, is like determine what's going to be your anchor fragrance out in, like, say, your living room or whatever area you're spending the most time in, and then choose other fragrances complementary to that. But keep in mind also the strength and throw or the performance of those candles. Okay, a KRINGLE candle that you guys are going to laugh. Even I was kind of surprised, like that I finished burning this one in January. This is not a January fragrance. This is very much a fall fragrance, but this is the scent Lil Devil. So this was the first one that I received in PR. I do have a full backup of this, and you guys know I'm more of a cat person, so I do have the cat. Fragrance notes are lush pumpkin, sweet nutmeg, creamy custard, spicy clove, cozy cinnamon, rich maple syrup, caramelized sugar, earthy carrot, and warm vanilla. Now, why did I get this out? Well, while this is typically a fall fragrance to me, I actually wanted to burn this alongside. Last week, I showed you guys in my Friday 5 that I recently purchased a frosted carrot cake from That Candle Place, which is a small business over on Instagram. And that fragrance on cold, I actually could detect some of the like vegetal carrot accord in there, as well as, you know, like spice cake and whatnot. And so I thought, you know what, I felt like Lil Devil would complement that fragrance really well, which it did. But they were definitely different fragrances. I would say that the frosted carrot cake, spoiler alert, that is actually a really, really good carrot cake fragrance. You guys know I'm always on the hunt for a good carrot cake scent. And that one is a good one. I'll make sure to update you guys and give you a post-burn thought on it. But Lil Devil did burn alongside it. Strength and throw on Lil Devil is about a 7, I would say, but really enjoyed it. Glad I have one more in my stash, and maybe it'll be a little bit stronger this year. I would say that if this fragrance does return this year for Halloween, yes, repurchase it. But I don't know. KRINGLE likes to do different things for Halloween every year, so I don't know if they actually will bring it back. It's very similar, I would say, to like Yankee Candle Spiced Pumpkin. Is it anything that's like new and never been done? No, but it was a good fragrance. I told you guys I am all over the map here. We had a Halloween candle that I finished burning up. Now we are going to have a distinctly Christmas type of candle that I finished burning. This is Dad's Fresh Cut Fraser from Caramel Sundays. Fragrance notes of cypress, evergreen, cedar, balsam, and vanilla. I believe that Amy gave this to me back in December. This is more of like a woody, warm type of tree fragrance, which you guys know is right up my alley. Amy likes a little bit more like neutral. I would say more like, I want to say like sophisticated tree fragrances. I think she doesn't really like the like warm, woody, sappy sweetness elements of a tree, which I do. And again, that's just all fragrance preferences. So she ended up gifting this one to me from Caramel Sundays, and I did finish burning it earlier in the month of January because why not, right? I was just loving this fragrance. It was burning nicely with a couple of these other candles that I had going, like with the Spun Vanilla Sugar. It was beautiful. This one was also really nice with like Snowy Bridge, Cozy Christmas. Really, really nice fragrance. I do have this in a 4-wick in my backup stash. In fact, I haven't even burned that one yet. But this is a fragrance that I would definitely recommend if you are somebody who has liked the tree fragrances that I recommended in the past. Then I would say Dad's Fresh Cut Fraser is a safe bet. I would say that this 2-wick, I only got maybe like a strength and throw of about like a 6.5. So once again, this was a complimentary scent that I tended to burn in my bedrooms. But yeah, I'll be curious to see how the 4-wick burns, particularly since by the time I go to relight it next Christmas, it'll have been sitting for almost a year. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, I would repurchase the fragrance Dad's Fresh Cut Fraser. And last, but certainly not least, actually, no, this is not the last because I said 18 and I've only shown you 17 candles here. This is Lemon Sugar Marshmallow from KRINGLE Candle. Lemon Sugar Marshmallow has fragrance notes of lemon, sweet, lemon zest, pastry, vanilla, and sugar. Now, this is also returning next week in the Easter restock. And here's the thing with this fragrance, you guys. I talked about this specific vessel. It's saying that this was a 2023 pour date. For whatever reason, I feel like this, maybe it did initially launch in 2023. My years are getting all discombobulated. But I will tell you guys, this fragrance to me definitely smells like lemon bars, like you get the sweetness of a really kind of like tart sugared lemon curd type of element, but then it has that shortbread note underneath it. I do really enjoy this fragrance. This one is also returning in the Easter lineup, but here's the thing that I experienced with this vessel. I had puny wicks from the get-go on this one. I don't know what happened with this fragrance. It was rather disappointing that those puny wicks were there. And the problem with the puny wicks was, one, it decreased the strength and throw, but two, there was something about those wicks burning so slowly that almost brought out, I think it brought out more of like the shortbread note, and I think I appreciate the lemon note in this fragrance a little bit more. I will say a comparable fragrance, if you've never tried this fragrance, but if you've tried Milk and Fruit Loops from Caramel Sundays, if you like Milk and Fruit Loops from Caramel Sundays, it's the same lemon note that you get in that one as this one. Another lemon note, if you're familiar with KRINGLE Candle, if you've tried Cosmic Cupcakes, the lemon note that's in Cosmic Cupcakes is also found in Lemon Sugar Marshmallow. So kind of like a very sweet, almost curd-like type of lemon. It's very, very nice. I like it. But again, when it was with that slow burning wick, I actually think that I appreciated this one melting in my candle crock more than I liked it burning. But again, that was because the burn wasn't going quite well. But would I still recommend this fragrance? Yes, I would. I'm not sure if I'm going to repurchase it next week in the restock, only because, again, I'm trying a bunch of other lemon gourmands right now. We'll see. FOMO might get the best of me next week. But yeah, I like this one, but I think truthfully, I think I like Milk and Fruit Loops from Caramel Sundays just slightly more. But I still do really enjoy this one. And if you're somebody who loves a good lemon gourmand, then you will like this fragrance. And then the final candle that I don't have here in front of me to show you is the final candle that I don't have to show here is the very, very large vessel of Bakery on Main, my 150-ounce vessel. I did go ahead and finish up. And that one, they are now launching a new 5-wick vessel that's 75 ounces. And so that I'm hoping eventually Bakery on Main will be released in that. You guys all know I love the fragrance Bakery on Main. It's my favorite vanilla gourmand. So that is it. I actually have to wrap up this video because I actually need to call my daughter out for a dentist appointment quite quickly here, and she was trying to call me as I am finishing filming. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. Let me know your thoughts on any of these candles if they were in your stash, and if you have burned any of them, please share with the candle community what your experience has been. Once again, I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.